that it's important to just ask ourselves, if we are going to erase ourselves at work, is there really diversity in the workplace when we're minimizing ourselves? So that's just something that I always try to put in the forefront. Like, I'm here for a reason. You need me. You need my perspective. You're going to get all of me. And otherwise, why am I here? But I think you said it right. They put you in the box of the expectation of white is right. And if I'm not as close as I can get to that and trying to assimilate, is what will make you successful. But I think that we just have to be strong and steadfast in supporting each other in the workplace, because if you do this and then you hear some chatter in the water cooler, or when it's time for promotion and somebody asks, how is they doing, we should be adjusting our sister's crown and letting, talking good about what she's doing, and kind of redirect the conversation, like, she's kind of out there or loud, and you change the conversation to, well, actually she got this done on time, she sends everything, we got that contract passed. I don't know if I could have done that without her perspective. Like, we just have to change the narrative in the conversation and refocus it on the fulfillment of that contract, as opposed to you worrying about my hair being bougie blue by Mystique Natural.
Have you guys ever, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I always feel like there is that extra tax of we always have to overperform. Yes. Please unmute yourself if you want to hop in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that, but so here's the thing, it's the burden that we carry, right? So it's just another burden. Our hair is a burden, everything is this and that, and so when you start to chip away at, change your hair, change this. If you change one thing, you're going to have to change 10 things, because at the end of the day, it's not even about you. It is about your being. Your very existence as a Black person, as a Black man, is a threat. Your very, very existence. So even if you change your hair, even if you change your lipstick, even if, it's never going to be enough. So you might as well just tell yourself, that you are, and be confident with who you are, because you have to carry, whether you're at that job or going out into the room, you still have to carry that with you. So you might as well just carry what you know to be your best and most authentic self, because it's never going to be enough. It's always enough when somebody else appropriates our image.
Right.
They can it's celebrated. But when we show up as ourselves, it becomes, a problem, and it's chipped away. So I think it starts with the self-confidence. And, as Dr. Anika said, she now has she had the confidence today that she had then. She wouldn't have changed, she would have, showed up as her authentic self. So I think what we have to do now is just having those more and more conversations about, how do we build our own self-confidence, so that when we are approached to change or adjust who we are, that we know how to kind of stand in our truth, and let them adjust to who we are.
Right. I distinctly recall the moment when I felt like I walked into that, when I had a patient. I'd had patients ask me this question so many times before a procedure. We're talking about a surgery that they need. Well, how many of these have you done? And finally, beyond telling numbers, my answer was, you won't find a person in the hospital who's done more than me. Go try to find it. Go look. And that's when I knew I don't have to try to make myself good enough for you anymore. You need to convince me that you are worthy of what I can do to you and for you to help you get better.
Wow.
Yes, God.
I question my doctors, but not based off of their looks. I question it based off of where they went to school, their experience, those sorts of things. But I've never judged a doctor based off of their looks.
They judge
a lot.
Some of the doctors judging us around like our pain.
The other way. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other way. So two interesting points from this conversation, I think, because we do have to, I love that concept of like we've been erasing who we are. I think that's why we're having this mass exodus to entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? I definitely agree, with that. For me, being in, especially with the federal government, and I worked for the Army, Department of the Army, on the military base with predominantly males. So anything I did was going to be extra anyways, even if I was quiet, because I am female, because, I'm a veteran myself, so I know how they look at us anyways. Everything is a complaint. Anyways, any emotion. So, in their eyes, it's just, just follow the rules. You know what I'm saying? Then you won't have to, feel that way. You made yourself feel that way because you already know what the rules were when you came in here. It doesn't make it right. I mean, slavery happened, but it didn't make it right. It was there, and it was a rule, but it didn't make it right. So for me, I think that was me doing with what Anika said. It's just I just made a conscientious effort, to just walk out there, and just see if I could be me. Some people get to a point, I don't know about other people, but for me, if I get to a point where I start to feel like I am putting myself in a box, I also think about other women, what I'm saying, who want to express themselves. So I'll sometimes be the martyr. And I did have a couple women, tell me, "Oh, that was so bold. I can't believe you did that." Cause this was on a day that I had a big meeting, one of the, the virtual meetings, with one of the generals. And I feel like at the end of the day, like we all know, long as your work is done, long as you're pimp tight and everything that you have to do in your job, the rest of it should not matter. It's just that we're hyper looked at, period. I mean, I went in there with 2 different earrings, I just, I just want to be me. I just want to be free. I want to get in here in these 8-9 hours, and do my job. And when I was questioned, after the meeting, it was just curious, just being curious, and when I was questioned about it, I just told them, kind of to make them feel better as well, as we're here with each other for 9 hours to spend more time with you than I do with my own family. And if we're family, this is who I am. This is what I look like, and I just want you to feel comfortable in that, so that I can feel comfortable and wanting to come here and work, with y'all and for y'all,
Yeah. That's a really good
You
point.
hit the nail on the head about it being disguised as curiosity. That's why they want to touch our hair. That's what all these questions are about. They are to make us feel uncomfortable, but so they aren't blatant. They disguise it as curiosity. And I won't say what I was about to say because it's a bad word. Get out of here with that. We know exactly what this is about. Right. We know what this is about. So I love that you mentioned that, because we get it. We know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
Can I just jump in really quick and respond to what you said, Dr. Anika? And so this is just really interesting, just from a historical perspective. As Black women have been through a lot in the world, but certainly in the United States. And there was a time where Black women and children were in cages. Like, we look at the zoo and we think about animals, and they were placed in cages and taken around in like circus trucks for people to prod and poke at and look at our features, because they were considered so exotic, and look at our the width of our hips, and look at our lip, right, and look at our body and touch our hair and say, wow. And so there is a visceral reaction that many Black people experience when someone goes to pet them, right? And because there is a historical trauma within that, where we're like, wait a minute, is my body my own? Wait a minute, are you asking to touch me, or are you already insinuating that you have permission to have access to my body? Wait a minute, am I my own person? Do I need to do this to get along? So again, that I don't think angry, or I'm not uptight. How do I navigate this? Are you curious, right? Or are you making a spectacle of me? Because are you treating me like an infant, like a pet? Or do you really see me as an equal? I mean, that's really the question.
Especially because that trauma is passed down through the generations. So we still experience what Sarah Bottom had to go through. Yeah, I 100% agree.